My narcissist mother told my kids I abandoned them, until I played them the voicemails of her threatening to end her life if I didn't stay away. I'm Rebecca, and I never thought I'd be the kind of person to record phone calls. But 3 years ago, after the 100th hysterical message from my mother, I started doing it automatically. Just hit record. Save everything. I didn't know why at the time. Maybe some part of me knew I'd need proof one day. That day came last Tuesday. I was standing in my kitchen in Portland, trying to make coffee with shaking hands, when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Mom? It was my daughter Lily's voice. She's 14 now. Was 11 the last time I'd heard her speak. I dropped the coffee mug. It shattered across the tile floor. Brown liquid spreading like a stain I'd never be able to clean. Lily? Oh my god, Lily, where are you? Are you okay? Is your brother? I hate you, she said. Her voice was cold, adult, nothing like the little girl who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. I just wanted to tell you that. Grandma said you might try to contact us now that I'm old enough to have my own phone. She said you'd pretend to care. But I remember what you did. My heart was hammering so hard I thought I might pass out. Baby, what are you talking about? I've been trying to reach you for 3 years. Your father won't let me. Don't lie. She was crying now, but her voice stayed hard. You left us. You just left. Grandma told us everything. How you said you never wanted to be a mother. How you ran away in the middle of the night. How you moved to a different state and changed your number so we couldn't find you. I slid down onto the floor, not caring about the broken ceramic cutting into my knees. Lily, that's not true. None of that is true. Your grandmother, stop. Just stop. I don't want to hear your excuses. Grandma's been taking care of us. She's the only one who actually loves us. Let me talk to you in person, I begged. Please, just give me 1 hour. Let me show you. Mason doesn't even remember you anymore. He asks Grandma why some moms leave their kids and never come back. Did you know that? My little brother doesn't remember his own mother. The line went dead. I sat there on my kitchen floor surrounded by broken pieces, and I finally understood what I had to do. I'd been too afraid before, too worried about making things worse, too paralyzed by my ex-husband's lawyers and my mother's manipulation and the restraining order that technically expired 6 months ago, but that I'd been too terrified to violate. But my daughter had called me. She'd reached out, and she deserved to know the truth. I grabbed my laptop and started pulling up files. 3 years of voicemails, 3 years of text messages before Mark changed their numbers, 3 years of documentation that I'd kept like a lifeline, not knowing if I'd ever get to use it. The first voicemail was from the night I left. I clicked play and listened to my mother's voice. Rebecca, if you go to the police about this, I swear to God I will take every pill in my medicine cabinet. Your father left me. Your sister doesn't call anymore. You're all I have left. If you abandon me like everyone else, I won't survive it. I mean it. I'll do it tonight. Your children will grow up knowing their mother chose to end their grandmother's life. My hand was trembling as I moved to the next one. This was from 2 days later, after I'd tried to call the kids at their father's house. You called Mark? You actually called him? After everything I've done for you? Fine, fine. If that's how you want to play this, I'll tell them everything. I'll tell them how you partied through college while I raised you. I'll tell them about the abortion you had at 19. I'll make sure they know exactly what kind of person you really are. And if that doesn't work, I'll just end it. I'll leave a note blaming you. Is that what you want? There were 37 more like that. I'd been living in California when it all fell apart. My mother had moved in with us 6 months earlier, after my father finally divorced her. She'd played the victim so perfectly, crying about being abandoned in her old age, about having nowhere to go, about just wanting to be close to her grandchildren. Mark and I had been having problems. Nothing major, just the usual stress of 2 working parents with young kids. But my mother had a talent for finding cracks and driving wedges into them. She'd make little comments. Mark looks tired. Are you sure he's happy? Or Lily's been so clingy with me lately. I think she feels neglected. Or my personal favorite, delivered with a concerned frown. I saw Mark texting someone last night, very late. I'm sure it's nothing. It took 3 months before Mark and I were barely speaking. Another month before the fight started. Another month before everything exploded. The night it happened, I came home from a particularly brutal shift at the hospital where I worked as a nurse. I was exhausted. My mother was in the living room with the kids watching a movie. Mark was in his study. I went upstairs to take a shower. When I came down 20 minutes later, my mother was screaming. She was on the floor, clutching her chest, gasping for air. The kids were crying. Mark was on the phone with 911. She pushed me. My mother sobbed when the paramedics arrived. I asked her to spend time with her children, and she just snapped. She pushed me down the stairs. I stood there, dripping wet in my bathrobe, and I couldn't even speak. Because I hadn't pushed her, I'd been in the shower, but my mother was on the ground. There was a bruise forming on her arm, and everyone was looking at me like I was a monster. The paramedics took her to the hospital. Mark took the kids to his mother's house, and I sat alone in my living room trying to understand what had just happened. That's when my phone started ringing. My mother from the hospital. I need you to come here right now, she said. Her voice was completely normal. No gasping, no pain. We need to talk. I drove to the hospital in a daze. Found her sitting up in bed, eating pudding, looking perfectly fine. What the hell was that? I asked. She smiled. This little satisfied smile that I'd seen 1,000 times growing up, but never really understood until that moment. You've been pulling away from me, she said calmly. You don't call as much? You don't invite me to things. I can feel you trying to push me out of your life, just like everyone else. You faked a medical emergency? You lied to the paramedics? I didn't lie. I fell. You pushed me. I was in the shower. Can you prove that? She took another bite of pudding. Mark didn't see where you were. The kids didn't either, but they saw me fall. They saw you come downstairs right after. And they saw how angry you've been lately, how stressed. How you've been snapping at everyone. I felt something crack inside me. What do you want? I want you to remember that I'm your mother. I want you to remember that I gave up everything for you. And I want you to understand that if you try to push me away, if you try to ruin this family, I will make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. I should have left right then. I should have gone to Mark, told him everything, figured it out together, but I was tired and confused, and some part of me was still that little girl who believed her mother when she said she was the only one who would ever really love me. So I went home, and I tried to fix it. I apologized to Mark for the tension. I promised to do better. I ignored the way my mother smiled when I said it, but it got worse. My mother started telling the kids things. Little things at first. Mommy's very stressed at work. We should be extra good so we don't upset her. Then bigger things. Mommy and Daddy might not stay together. But don't worry, Grandma will always be here. She'd create situations where I looked bad. Leave the stove on and then tell Mark I must have forgotten. Forget to pick up the kids from school and then say I'd told her I would do it. Tell my children I was too busy to read them bedtime stories when I'd actually been working a double shift at the hospital. Mark started looking at me differently. The kids started pulling away. And every time I tried to confront my mother, she'd have another episode. Chest pain, difficulty breathing. Once, she locked herself in the bathroom and I had to call 911 because I thought she was actually hurting herself. The paramedics found her sitting on the toilet, fully dressed, reading a magazine. False alarm, she told them brightly. My daughter overreacts to everything. It went on for 8 months. 8 months of my life slowly being dismantled. 8 months of watching my marriage crumble and my kids become strangers. 8 months of my mother playing the role of concerned grandmother while poisoning everything I'd built. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. I remember because it was Mason's 5th birthday. I'd taken the day off work to plan his party, but when I went to pick up the cake I'd ordered, the bakery had no record of it. I called the house. My mother answered. "Oh, didn't I tell you?" she said. I canceled that order. I made him a cake myself. He specifically asked for Grandma's chocolate cake. You know how much he loves it. Something in me snapped. I drove home at probably illegal speeds and walked into the house to find my mother serving cake to a house full of children and parents. Mark was there, looking stressed. The kids were laughing. I pulled my mother into the kitchen. "This ends now," I said quietly. "You're going to stop. You're going to tell Mark the truth, or I'm going to tell him everything, and you're going to leave this house today." She looked at me for a long moment. Then she smiled. "If I leave this house," she said softly, "I'll drive straight to the nearest bridge and jump off. And I'll make sure I call Mark first so he can tell the kids that their mother chose to end their grandmother's life. Is that what you want?" I stared at her. "You wouldn't. Try me." I tried. God help me, I tried. I walked into the living room and I told Mark we needed to talk right then, alone. We went upstairs. I told him everything. The manipulation, the lies, the threats. I begged him to believe me. He looked at me like I was crazy. "Your mother has been nothing but helpful," he said. "She's here every day with the kids while we work. She cooks, she cleans, she never asks for anything in return. And you want to kick her out because you're stressed about work? She's lying to you. She's manipulating all of us. Listen to yourself, Rebecca. You sound paranoid." "I'm not paranoid. I'm telling you the truth. Your mother fell down the stairs because you pushed her. I saw the bruise." "I didn't push her. I was in the shower." "Were you?" "Because I don't actually remember seeing you go upstairs that night." That's when I realized how deep this went, how carefully my mother had been planning this, how every lie, every manipulation, every false emergency had been building to this moment. "You don't believe me," I said. "I believe you're having some kind of breakdown, and I think maybe we need to talk about getting you some help." I walked out, I went downstairs, grabbed my purse, and I left my own son's birthday party. I got in my car and I drove. I didn't know where I was going. I just drove until I ended up at my best friend Jennifer's apartment. She lived about 40 minutes away. I knocked on her door at 7 p.m., crying so hard I could barely breathe. She let me in, made me tea, let me sob on her couch for an hour before I could even form words. Then my phone started ringing. My mother. I didn't answer. It rang again. Then the voicemails started. Jennifer made me put the phone on speaker. We listened to the first one together. "Rebecca, I need you to come home right now. Mark is very upset. The children are asking where you are. This is not appropriate behavior. You need to come home and apologize." The second one came 5 minutes later. "I'm serious. If you don't come home, there will be consequences. Mark is talking about calling a lawyer. Is that what you want? You want to lose your children?" The third one was the first time she mentioned hurting herself. "Fine. If you're going to abandon your family, if you're going to abandon me, then I don't see any point in going on. I'm looking at my medication right now. I have enough pills here to do it. Is this what you want, Rebecca? Your children growing up without a grandmother?" Jennifer's eyes went wide. Holy shit. The fourth voicemail came 10 minutes later. "I'm serious. I'm holding the pills right now. I'm going to take them. This is your fault. When Mark finds me, when the kids have to deal with this trauma, it'll be because you left. Because you're a selfish, terrible daughter who never loved me." Then the text messages started. Screenshots of pill bottles, pictures of her goodbye note, videos of her crying. Jennifer grabbed my phone. "We need to call the police." "No," I said. "That's what she wants. She wants me to call the police, rush home, look crazy and dramatic. Or she wants me to not call the police and actually hurt herself so she can blame me. Either way, she wins. So what do? I thought about it, really thought about it. And then I made a decision that changed everything. I'm going to let her play this out, and I'm going to document everything. I stayed at Jennifer's that night. My mother called 17 times, left 12 voicemails, sent 34 text messages, all of them escalating from threats to pleas to rage. Mark called once. "Where are you? Your mother is in the hospital. She took pills. This is your fault." I hung up. Waited 30 minutes. Called the hospital directly. "I'm calling to check on a patient." patient. Linda Chen. She was brought in tonight. Are you family? I'm her daughter. One moment, a pause. Ma'am, I'm showing that Ms. Chen was discharged 2 hours ago. She was examined and released with no treatment needed. She didn't take any pills? Not according to her chart. She was quite insistent about being discharged. Said she had to get home to her grandchildren. I thanked them and hung up. Jennifer was staring at me. She faked it, I said. Again. Rebecca, you need to get away from this woman. I can't. She's living in my house with my kids. If I try to make her leave, she'll turn Mark and the kids completely against me. If I stay, she'll drive me insane. There's no winning move here. Then make a new game. I looked at her. What do you mean? You can't win while you're playing by her rules. So change the rules. Document everything. Record everything. Build a case. And when you have enough evidence, you make your move. That's what I did. For the next 3 weeks, I stayed at Jennifer's apartment. I went to work, came home, recorded every single interaction with my mother, every call, every text, every voicemail Mark filed for divorce. My mother helped him, told him I'd abandoned the family, told him I was unstable, dangerous, that the kids were scared of me. I got a lawyer, started building my case, but my mother was smart. She never said anything threatening when other people were around. She never left evidence that anyone but me could see. The custody hearing was a nightmare. Mark's lawyer painted me as an unstable woman who'd had a mental breakdown and abandoned her children. My mother testified that she'd tried to help me, that she'd been nothing but supportive, and that I'd become paranoid and aggressive. The judge looked at me with pity and disgust, awarded Mark full custody, gave me supervised visitation once a month, but then my mother wasn't done. She couldn't help herself. She had to twist the knife a little deeper. 2 days after the hearing, I got a call from Mark. Lily doesn't want to see you, he said. His voice was cold. She asked me to tell you that. She says she feels unsafe around you. Mark, please, let me talk to her. No. And Mason's too young to understand, but he doesn't ask about you anymore. My mother is helping us out. She's moving in. The kids need stability. They need people they can trust. Your mother? What about my mother? A pause. Your mother went back to her apartment. She said she couldn't stay in the house knowing how much you'd hurt everyone. She said it was too painful. I almost laughed. Almost. Because of course that's what happened. My mother had accomplished exactly what she wanted. She'd destroyed my marriage, taken my children, and then exited gracefully before anyone could start asking questions. I drove to her apartment that night, knocked on her door until she answered. She looked at me with that same little smile. What do you want, Rebecca? You won this time, I said. Congratulations. You destroyed my entire life. I hope it was worth it. I didn't destroy anything. You did this to yourself. We both know that's not true. She shrugged. Does it matter? No one believes you. Mark doesn't believe you. The kids don't believe you. The judge didn't believe you. You're all alone now, just like you always feared you'd be. I stepped closer. I want to ask you something, and I want an honest answer. Why? Why did you do this? I'm your daughter. What did I ever do to you? For just a second, something flickered across her face. Something almost like pain. You grew up, she said quietly. You stopped needing me. You built your own life, your own family. You were happy without me. And I couldn't stand it. Then the mask came back. She smiled. But now you need me again, don't you? You need me to tell Mark the truth. You need me to fix this. So maybe we can work something out. Maybe if you're very, very nice to me, if you remember who raised you and who will always be there for you. I held up my phone. Hit play on a recording. Her voice came through the speaker, clear as day. I'm serious. I'm holding the pills right now. I'm going to take them. This is your fault. Her face went white. I recorded everything, I said. Every call, every text, every voicemail. 3 weeks of evidence of you threatening to harm yourself if I came home. Of you admitting you faked medical emergencies. Of you manipulating my family. You can't use that. It's illegal to record someone without their consent. Actually, California is a 2-party consent state, but the calls were made to my phone. I consented. And threatening to harm yourself to manipulate someone is abuse, which means I had legal grounds to record for my own protection. She recovered quickly. Always did. So what? You think Mark will believe you? You think a judge will care? You already lost. Maybe. But I'll spend the rest of my life making sure everyone knows what you are. Every family member. Every friend. Every person who ever felt sorry for you. I'll send them these recordings. I'll put them online. I'll make sure your name is the first thing that comes up when people search for narcissistic manipulation. You wouldn't. Watch me. I turned to leave. She grabbed my arm. Rebecca, please. I'm your mother. You can't do this to me. I have nothing else. No one else. If you expose me, if you ruin my reputation, I won't survive it. Then I guess you'll have to trust that I'm a better person than you are. I left, and I didn't use the recordings, not then. Because as much as I wanted revenge, as much as I wanted to hurt her the way she'd hurt me, I couldn't do it. I couldn't be her, but I kept them. Stored them safely. Backed them up in multiple places. Just in case. The years crawled by. I moved to Portland for a fresh start. Got a new job at a different hospital. Started therapy. Tried to rebuild some version of a life. I sent letters to the kids. Birthday cards. Christmas presents. Everything came back unopened with return to sender, written in Mark's handwriting. I tried to show up for Mason's 6th birthday party. Mark called the police. Said I was violating the custody agreement. I technically wasn't, but I left anyway because I didn't want to upset the kids. I started a savings account. Put every extra dollar into it. Money for lawyers. Money for when the kids were old enough to choose. Money for a custody battle I might never get to fight. My mother tried to call me a few times over those 3 years. I never answered. She sent emails. I blocked her. She showed up at my apartment once. I called the police and filed a harassment report. She went quiet after that. I heard from my aunt that she'd moved to Florida. Started telling people her daughter had died. Played the grieving mother role perfectly, I'm sure. I thought about the kids every single day. Wondered what they looked like now. What they liked. Who they were becoming. If they thought about me at all. And then, last Tuesday, Lily called. called. I sat on my kitchen floor surrounded by broken glass, and I made a decision. I opened my laptop, started a new email, attached every single recording I had, every voicemail, every text, every screenshot, but I didn't send it to Mark. Not yet. Instead, I sent it to my lawyer with a simple message. I need to file for a modification of custody. How much will this cost? She called me within an hour. This is significant evidence, she said. Why didn't you share this during the original custody hearing? I was trying to protect my mother, I said. I thought if I just went away quietly, she'd leave my family alone. I was wrong. This changes everything. This shows a pattern of manipulation and abuse. This shows she was threatening harm to control you. This is grounds for a full review. How much? For a case like this? With this much documentation? Probably $20,000. Maybe more. I looked at my savings account. $23,000, 3 years of saving every penny. Do it, I said. We filed the motion that week. My lawyer was confident, said we had a strong case, said Mark would have to respond, said the kids might be old enough now to have a say, but I didn't wait for the legal system. Because legal systems are slow and my daughter had called me. My daughter had reached out, and she deserved answers now. I texted the number she'd called from. Lily, this is Mom. I know you don't believe me right now, but I need you to listen to something. Just one thing. If you listen and you still hate me, I'll never contact you again. I promise. But please, give me 5 minutes. She didn't respond. I didn't expect her to, so I did something crazy. I drove to California, 8 hours in the car, stopping only for gas and coffee. Got to my old neighborhood at 3 in the morning. Parked down the street from my old house. Sat there until dawn, watching the windows, trying to catch a glimpse of my children. At 7:30, the front door opened. A boy walked out. Tall for 8 years old. Dark hair like his father. He was wearing a backpack and carrying a lunchbox with dinosaurs on it. Mason, my baby, who didn't remember me. I wanted to run to him. Wanted to scoop him up and hold him and never let go. But I stayed in my car. Watched him get picked up by a carpool. Watched him drive away. 15 minutes later, Lily came out. She looked so much older than I expected. Tall and thin, with her hair pulled back in a ponytail. She was wearing makeup. When did she start wearing makeup? She walked to the bus stop alone. I waited until she got on the bus. Then I followed it. I know how that sounds. I know, but I wasn't trying to scare her. I just needed to see her. Needed to make sure she was okay. The bus stopped at the middle school. I watched her walk in with a group of friends. She was laughing at something one of them said. She looked happy. I sat in the parking lot and cried because she was happy. And I wasn't part of that happiness. And maybe that's how it should be. Maybe my mother was right. Maybe I had destroyed everything. Maybe the kids were better off without me. I was about to drive away when my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I saw you, following my bus. That's really creepy. My heart stopped. I looked around. How did she see me? Another text. I'm not in class. I'm in the counselor's office. She's calling the police right now because a strange woman was following the bus. Unless you want to get arrested, you should probably leave. I typed back quickly. Lily, please. I'm not trying to scare you. I just wanted to see you. I miss you so much. Then why did you leave us? I didn't leave you. I was forced away. Your grandmother lied to you. Grandma wouldn't lie. She loves us. She's sick, Lily. She has a mental illness that makes her manipulate people. She did it to me my whole life. And she did it to you and Mason and your dad? You sound crazy. I know, but I can prove it. If you meet me, just for 5 minutes, I'll show you everything and then I'll leave. If you still don't believe me, I'll never contact you again. A long pause. Then, where? I told her there was a coffee shop 2 blocks from the school. Asked if she could get away at lunch. She said yes. I spent the next 4 hours in that coffee shop running through everything I wanted to say. Everything I needed her to know. But when she finally walked through the door, her face so careful and guarded, all my prepared speeches vanished. Hi, I said. She didn't sit down. Just stood there by the table, arms crossed. You have 5 minutes. I pulled out my phone, pulled up the first voicemail. Hit play. My mother's voice filled the space between us. Rebecca, if you go to the police about this, I swear to God, I will take every pill in my medicine cabinet. Lily's face didn't change. So, maybe she was upset. You probably did something terrible. I played the next one. And the next one. And the next one. I'll drive straight to the nearest bridge and jump off. I'm holding the pills right now. I'm going to take them. When the kids have to deal with this trauma, it'll be because you left. Lily sat down. She didn't say anything, just sat there listening. I played 17 voicemails, each one worse than the last. Each one proving that my mother had threatened to hurt herself over and over to keep me away. She did this every day, I said quietly, for 3 weeks. And before that, she did other things. She lied to your dad about me. She manipulated situations to make me look bad. She pushed me out of my own family because she couldn't stand that I had a life that didn't revolve around her. Lily was staring at the phone. This is Grandma? Yes, but she's so nice. She makes us pancakes. She helps with homework. She never yells at us. I know. That's how she works. She finds people who are vulnerable and she makes herself indispensable. And then she slowly pushes away anyone who might expose her. Your dad was having a hard time after the divorce. She helped him, made herself necessary. And then she told you and Mason that I abandoned you. Did you? Lily looked up at me. Did you try to come back? I pulled out my phone, showed her the folders. 3 years of birthday cards that were returned. 3 years of Christmas presents. 3 years of letters. Your father sent them all back. Dad wouldn't do that. Your dad believed what your grandmother told him, that I was dangerous, unstable, that I didn't want to be a mother. Lily was quiet for a long time. Then she said very softly, why should I believe you instead of them? It was a fair question. The fairest question she could ask. Because I have evidence, I said. And because I'm your mother. I held you when you were born. I stayed up all night when you had colic. I taught you to read. I sang you to sleep. I loved you more than anything in this entire world. And I never wanted to leave you. Her face crumpled. She started crying. I thought you didn't want us. Oh, baby. I reached across the table but didn't touch her. Wasn't sure if I was allowed to. I wanted you so much. I tried so hard to get back to you, but the courts wouldn't let me. Your dad wouldn't let me, and I was so afraid that if I pushed too hard, I'd make things worse for you. Grandma said you moved away, changed your number, started a new life. I moved to Portland because I couldn't afford to stay in California. I changed my number because your grandmother wouldn't stop calling and harassing me. And the only life I started was one where I counted down the days until you were old enough to choose for yourself. She wiped her eyes. Mason really doesn't remember you. I know. You told me. He asks about you sometimes. Asks Dad why some kids have two parents and he only has one. Dad tells him it's complicated. I had to look away. Had to swallow the sob that was building in my chest. I have a room ready for him, for both of you, in my apartment in Portland. I've had it ready for 3 years. Just in case. What's it like? Your apartment? Small, but it has a balcony where you can see the city. And there's a park down the street. I thought Mason might like it. He likes. Finally, she said, I need to go. Dad's going to wonder where I am. Lily, wait. Can I see you again? She hesitated. I don't know. This is a lot. I need to think about it. That's fair. But can I ask you something? What? Does your grandmother still live with you? No, she moved away like a year ago. Said she missed Florida, but she visits sometimes. When she visits, how does your dad act? Lily thought about it. Stressed. He gets really stressed. Like everything has to be perfect. And she makes these comments about stuff, like how the house is messy or how we're eating too much junk food. Dad always looks exhausted after she leaves. Has she ever threatened to hurt herself when she doesn't get her way? Lily's eyes widened. Once, last time she visited. She wanted to stay for a month and Dad said just 2 weeks. She started crying and saying maybe she should just go back to Florida permanently since no one wanted her here. That maybe it would be better if she wasn't around at all. Dad let her stay the whole month. I nodded. That's what she does. She finds your weak spots and she pushes. And if you try to stand up to her, she makes you feel like you're killing her. That's really messed up. Yeah, it is. Lily stood up. I'm going to talk to Dad about all of this. Be careful. She's very good at turning things around. She'll make it seem like I'm the liar. I have the recordings. He might not believe them. He might say I faked them. Then I'll deal with that. She picked up her backpack. But I need to know the truth. I've spent 3 years hating you. If I was wrong, if Grandma lied, then I need to know. She walked to the door, turned back. Mom? It was the first time she'd called me that in 3 years. I started crying before I could stop myself. Thank you for not giving up, she said. Then she was gone. I sat in that coffee shop for another hour, shaking, crying, not believing that had actually happened. My daughter had listened. She'd heard me. She'd called me mom. I drove back to Portland that night. Didn't hear from Lily for 3 days. 3 days of agonizing silence where I imagined every possible outcome. Mark had convinced her I was lying. My mother had shown up and manipulated her. The court had gotten involved. I'd made everything worse. Then on Friday night, my phone rang. Mark's number, I answered. Hello? Rebecca. His voice was tight. We need to talk. Okay. Lily played me the recordings. All of them. I didn't say anything. Just waited. I didn't know, he said. About the threats. About how bad it was. Your mother told me you'd had a breakdown. That you were making up stories. I believed her because you did seem unstable toward the end. And she was so helpful. She was there every day with the kids. I thought she was trying to save us. She was destroying us. I know that now. Lily's therapist confirmed that the pattern of behavior in those recordings is consistent with severe narcissistic manipulation. She said your mother essentially ran a campaign to isolate you from your family, and you believe that? A long pause. I'm trying to. It's hard because I let this happen. I helped her push you out. I kept your kids from you. For 3 years, I let them think you abandoned them. How do I fix that? I don't know, I said honestly, but maybe we start with letting me see them. They want to see you. Both of them. Lily's been talking about you nonstop. She wants to visit, and Mason asked to see pictures of you. He's trying to remember. I was crying again. Seemed like I couldn't stop these days. When? How about next weekend? I'll drive them to Portland. We can figure out a schedule. Mark, what about your mother? Is she still living with you? No. She left right after the divorce was final. Said she'd done what she needed to do. I thought she meant helping us through a hard time. Now I wonder what she really meant. And my mother? She called yesterday. Said she'd heard Lily had been in contact with you. Said I needed to put a stop to it before you filled the kids' heads with lies. He laughed bitterly. I told her she wasn't welcome in my house anymore. She started crying. Said I was abandoning her. That she'd have no reason to live if I cut her off. I almost gave in. And then I remembered the recordings and I hung up. She'll keep trying. I know, but I'm done. We're all done. That next weekend, Mark drove to Portland with both kids. I met them at a park near my apartment. Mason was shy at first, hiding behind his dad's leg, but I'd brought dinosaur toys and he warmed up quickly. Lily hugged me so hard I thought my ribs would crack. She cried, I cried. Mark cried. Mason asked why everyone was crying and could he please play on the swings. We spent 6 hours together. It wasn't perfect. There were awkward moments. Mason called Mark Dad and me Rebecca because he didn't remember enough to call me Mom yet. Lily kept apologizing for believing my mother. I kept telling her it wasn't her fault, but we were together. And that was enough. My mother tried to call me 47 times over the next month, sent hundreds of texts, emails, even tried to show up at my apartment once. But I'd moved to a building with better security. The last message she left was on a Tuesday night. About 6 weeks after I'd reconnected with the kids. You've turned everyone against me, she said. Her voice was flat, cold. My own daughter, my son-in-law, my grandchildren. You've poisoned them all. You've ruined my life. I hope you're happy. I deleted it without listening to the whole thing. I didn't need to hear it anymore. The custody arrangement was modified. I got alternating weekends and 1 weeknight dinner. It wasn't full custody. happy. Probably wouldn't be for a while, but it was something. It was my kids back in my life. Mason started calling me mom about 3 months in, just casually while asking for more juice. Can I have more juice, mom? Like it was the most natural thing in the world. I had to leave the room so he wouldn't see me cry. Lily introduced me to her friends as her mom. Not Rebecca or my birth mother or any of the other careful phrases she'd been using. Just, this is my mom. Mark and I worked on being co-parents. It was strange and awkward, but we were both trying. We'd both been victims of my mother's manipulation in different ways. Neither of us wanted to repeat those patterns. Last month, Lily asked if I'd come to her 9th grade awards ceremony. She was getting an award for English. I sat in that auditorium next to Mark and his new girlfriend, and when they called Lily's name and she walked across that stage, she looked right at me and smiled. My mother sent one final message after that. I almost didn't open it, but something made me click. It was a video. Her sitting in what looked like a motel room. She looked older, tired. The mask was finally slipping. "I want you to know that I did love you," she said, in my own way. I know it wasn't healthy. I know I hurt you, but I did love you. I just didn't know how to do it without destroying everything. She looked at the camera for a long moment. "You won, Rebecca. You got your family back. You turned everyone against me. I'm alone now. Completely alone. And maybe that's what I deserve, but I want you to know that I never meant to hurt those children. I just wanted to matter. I wanted to be important to someone." The video ended. I watched it 3 times, and then I deleted it, because she was right. She did love me, but her love was poison. And I'd finally learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away. I haven't heard from her since. Don't know where she is. Don't really care. My therapist says that's healthy, that I'm allowed to protect myself. That blood doesn't give someone the right to hurt you. Last week, Mason drew a picture at school. It was our family. Me, him, Lily, and Mark. 4 stick figures holding hands. He put it on my refrigerator. "That's us," he said proudly. "That's my family." I stared at that drawing for a long time after he went to bed, because he was right. That was our family. Broken and rebuilt and imperfect, but ours. My mother had tried to take that from me, had spent years destroying it, had almost succeeded, but I'd kept those recordings. I'd documented everything. I'd held on to hope when I had every reason to give up. And when my daughter finally reached out, when she finally asked for the truth, I was ready. I had the evidence. I had the proof. Sometimes I still think about what my mother said in that last video, about wanting to matter, about not knowing how to love without destroying, and I feel sad for her, because she'll never understand what she lost. She'll never know her grandchildren. She'll never see Mason's dinosaur phase or Lily's first heartbreak or any of the million small moments that make up a life. She chose manipulation over love, and she lost everything. I chose truth, chose my children, chose to keep fighting even when it seemed hopeless, and I got them back. That's the difference between us.